Dan Loepp is the CEO of Blue Cross Blue Shield. Dan, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So tell me, what are some of the good conversations that you've had so far during the conference and some of the bigger themes that you're seeing?
The coolest thing from my point of view is that I chaired this conference 6 years ago. And when you think about where we're at today as a community, and we have our warts, we have our issues, but the buzz around the economy and things working better is the buzz that I'm hearing, and I'm excited about that.
You've had a very busy year with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Tell us about the legislation in March, which has really changed the way that you're going to operate now.
Absolutely. The first of the year, we become a mutual insurance company, which means basically our subscribers own the company. And it was a long haul, but it's sort of a result of what has happened in Washington, because now, historically, we were the insurer of last resort, which means you could get insurance from us, from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, no matter what. Now everybody is in that spot that, nobody can turn anybody down. And so we're on equal footing with everybody. And so the governor suggested, which I think ultimately we agreed to, that if we're all on equal footing, we should pay taxes, but we should be able to compete on an equal playing field as well.
So a little less regulation time for you as well.
Yeah, it's instead of taking 18 months for our rates, we're going to be able to compete on the exchange and the open marketplace just like everybody else does, but we're also going to pay taxes like everybody else does.
So people at home might be thinking, okay, so what does that mean for me? Are my rates going to go up, or how does this change things for the customer?
Especially initially, I don't see much of that. I mean, we've got to compete on the exchange. We're going to have to compete with our competitors, and so we're going to have to be competitively priced in the marketplace. And so I think actually for us to be on the exchange, which we would not have been able to do without this legislation, means people are going to have choices, and you can pick whether I hope you pick Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, but you're going to be able to pick us or anybody else.
This is really a new frontier in terms of healthcare that we're entering into right now.
It's really, the whole thing is it's quite amazing. Let's hope when we flip the switch on January 1 that it works. We are very prepared. We made the decision when the legislation passed. There's a lot of people that said, well, let's see what the Supreme Court
wait and
does.
see,
right.
and
we made the call to
you.
figure out how it's going to work. Because bottom line, our responsibility is to our subscribers. Our business subscribers, our individual subscribers, this thing's got to work, and so we got to figure out how it works. And we've been spending the last 2.5 years, we spent a lot of money and a lot of person hours to make it happen.
Dan, you're also a huge, I would say, booster for the city of Detroit. You've moved your staff down there, and
right.
You've done a lot of things to help move the city forward. What has it been like in watching what's unfolded with the city now with an emergency manager at play? What do you feel about the next steps that the city is going to make?
Well, I am super excited. I grew up on the east side of Detroit. Born and raised in the city, and to see what's going on from in the business district is phenomenal. I mean, you can't get an apartment, you can't get a condo, you can't buy a house in downtown Detroit. You can't get a parking space for that matter.
Good problems to have.
Absolutely, and what I hope that does is it creates more jobs, and I think we're competing with other places around the country. It's $10 or $12 a foot to have space. We're competing, and there's businesses coming in, especially IT businesses. If that happens, we create jobs. That's going to help the neighborhoods, and because this is not about downtown Detroit. This is about the city and the region. And I think if we can create jobs, which I think we're doing, the fact that Whole Foods is opening up this week, the fact that that there are many retail businesses looking at coming downtown. It's really exciting. So I'm absolutely thrilled to death what's going on.
I like to hear you talking about not just downtown as well, because I think that's the next step that needs to be focused on, is a lot of the neighborhoods and the living areas and where people are right now, and starting to expand some of that, infrastructure or investment.
Absolutely, and I grew up in the neighborhoods, and so the neighborhoods are important, but I think if we can create jobs, we can create a synergy downtown that absolutely is going to help. I mean, that's one of the things when we invested in buying police cars and EMS units. Those aren't going to be downtown, they're going to be in the neighborhoods. And so I think investment in downtown means investment in the neighborhoods.
Okay, Dan Loepp from Blue Cross Blue Shield. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Christy.